Good afternoon and welcome to the Assembly Committee on Commerce and Labor. Secretary, will you please take roll?
Assemblywoman Backus. Assemblyman Carter.
Present.
Assemblywoman Duran. Assemblywoman Hardy. Assemblywoman Howdigi. Assemblywoman Kasama.
Here.
Assemblywoman Monroe Moreno.
Here.
Assemblyman O'Neill. Assemblywoman Torres.
Here.
Assemblyman Yeager. Assemblyman Urick. Chair Marzola.
And I am here. Please mark members present as they arrive and mark Assemblywoman Hardy absent excused. Welcome everybody that is here with us in Carson City, anyone listening over the internet, and anyone in Las Vegas. Today we are going to hear two bills, Senate Bill 274 and Senate Bill 276. I will not be taking those in order. We will also have a work session. We will be doing the work session first. Before we get started, I do have a few housekeeping announcements. Please turn off or silence all of your electronic devices. If you wish to testify, please sign in by the door. If you have a business card, please make sure to provide one. If you have any handouts for the committee, please provide 20 copies to the committee secretary prior to your testimony. For those testifying online, please be sure to mute your microphone when not testifying. When testifying, please make sure to turn on your microphone and clearly state and spell your name for the record. As always, I expect courtesy and respect in all our interactions, even if we may not agree. And with that, we will go to our first agenda item, which will be our work session. Work session is to take an action on measures the committee has previously heard. It is not customary for the committee to take testimony or otherwise rehear any bills. However, I may invite a witness up to come forward for clarification or questions during our consideration of a measure. And with that, we will begin with our only work session for the moment is Senate Bill 234. You may begin when you're ready, Ms. Thomas.
Thank you, Madam Chair. Senate Bill 234 revised provisions governing communication with offenders. It was sponsored by Senator Scheibel, heard on May 31st, and there are no proposed amendments.
Thank you. Members, are there any questions on Senate Bill 234? I don't see any. I will entertain a motion to do pass. I have a first from Assemblywoman Duran. Is there a second? A second from Assemblywoman Backus. Any discussion on the motion? Assemblyman Urick.
Yes, thank you, Chair. I just want to say that when I prepared for this hearing, read the bill, came in, I thought I knew where I was going to go with this, and it wasn't until I heard that extremely polished and well-presented colleague of mine present this bill that I became overwhelmingly convinced that this is a great piece of legislation, and I will be in favor and supporting it today.
And I would have to say ditto to what my colleague said. So we appreciate you coming. All those in favor say aye. Aye. All those opposed say nay. Motion carries. And I will assign myself that floor statement.
Senator Daly had to go to work session. He'll be right back.
Okay, thank you. And with that, we will close our work session. Thank you for being here. 1 minute recess. Committee will come back to order. I will now open the hearing on Senate Bill 276, which revises provisions related to collection agency. I don't believe Senator Lang is available, and so Mr. Reed will be presenting on her behalf. Welcome, and you may begin when you're ready.
All right. Good afternoon, Madam Chair and committee members. For the record, I'm Brian Reeder, speaking on behalf of the Receivables Management Association International, or RMAI. That's the Association for Debt Buyers. Senator Lang is sorry that she could not be here and asked me to handle her portion of the presentation for SB 276. This bill has two primary goals: to expand the definition of collection agencies to include debt buying companies, and to modernize the Collection Agency Act, which was first adopted 50 years ago. Currently, 35 states license collection agencies, and in most of those states, the definition is broad enough to include debt-buying companies, but that's not the case in Nevada. The only difference between a collection agency and a debt-buying company is who has title to the debt. Debt-buying companies own the debt, while third-party collection agencies collect the debt on behalf of another company or entity. The debt buying industry came about after the collection agency laws in Nevada were adopted, and as such, the Collection Agency Act does not clearly pull debt buyers into the law. This bill will rectify this by amending the definition of collection agency to include debt buyers as of October 1st, 2023. This bill and the amendment that we will address in a moment is the result of more than a year of discussions and collaboration between debt buyers, collectors, the Financial Institutions Division, and NJA. And with that, here to help me further explain the bill is David Reed, representing the Debt Buyers Association. Thank you.
Good afternoon, Madam Chair, members of the committee. My name is David Reed, and I serve as General Counsel to RMAI. RMAI is a nonprofit trade association which represents debt buyers, law firms, collection agencies, banks, and credit unions. RMAI supports the passage of Senate Bill 276, including the proposed amendments, because it will not only require debt buying companies to be licensed, but it will also modernize an act that was first adopted in 1969, 8 years before the Federal Fair Debt Collection Practices Act. This bill will also replace qualified managers of a collection agency with a compliance manager, aligning with the requirements of the CFPB and RMAI certification, focused on complying with state and federal laws and regulations. This bill will also permit employees to work from home, provided the collection agency abides by rigorous requirements designed to ensure oversight, compliance, and data security. This bill streamlines the licensing process by requiring a single corporate license rather than multiple licenses for each branch facility. We appreciate Senator Lang's introduction of this bill to license debt buyers and to modernize the Collection Agency Act. RMAI supports its passage. I would now like to address the SB 276 amendments on Nellis. The amendment does the following. It provides that the mandatory compliance training does not have to take place in the company's principal place of business. It requires direct oversight and mentoring for new hires for a supervisor for 7 days. It reduces the record retention of phone calls from 4 years to 3 years to match federal requirements. It clarifies that the compliance manager is responsible for collection operations. And finally, the amendment ensures that the statute of limitations on consumer debt cannot be revived. Thank you.
Does that conclude the presentation?
Madam Chair, it does. Yeah, Brian Reeder for the record.
Thank you. Committee members, are there any questions? I don't see any. So if you guys can step back, I will start with support testimony of Senate Bill 276. Is there anyone here in Carson City wishing to testify? Please remember to state and spell your name for the record. You may begin when you're ready.
Madam Chair, good afternoon, members of the committee. Jason Mills, JASON-MILLS, on behalf of the Nevada Justice Association. We'd like to say thank you to the bill sponsor and to the proponents of the bill, to working with the organizations. Generally, the Nevada Justice Association always supports such good legislation as this that enforces and strengthens consumer protection laws, and we urge your support on this particular bill. Thank you very much, Madam Chair.
And thank you for your testimony. Is there anyone else here in Carson City wishing to testify in support? Is there anyone in Las Vegas wishing to testify in support to Senate Bill 276? Broadcast, is there anyone on the line?
Chair, there are no callers in support at this time.
We will move to testimony in opposition. Is there anyone here in Carson City wishing to testify in opposition? I don't see anyone. Is there anyone in Las Vegas wishing to testify in opposition? Broadcast, is there anyone on the line?
Chair, there are no callers in opposition at this time.
Thank you. We will move to neutral testimony. Is there anyone here in Carson City wishing to testify in the neutral position? I see someone walking to the at the table in Las Vegas. Please remember to state and spell your name for the record, and you are testifying in the neutral position? Thank you. You may begin when you're ready.
Good afternoon, Chair Marzola. Good afternoon, Chair Marzola and committee members. My name is Mary Young, M-A-R-Y-Y-O-U-N-G, and I'm Deputy Commissioner for the Financial Institutions Division, and I'm just here to answer any questions that you or the committee members may have. Thank you.
Committee members, are there any questions? I don't think there is, but we appreciate you being here today. Thank you. Is there anyone else in Las Vegas wishing to testify in neutral? Broadcast, is there anyone on the line?
Chair, there are no callers in neutral at this time.
Thank you. Would you like to give any closing remarks? And I will now close the hearing on Senate Bill 276. 1 minute recess. Committee will come back to order. With the speaker's permission, we are waiving the 24-hour rule and we are going to work session Senate Bill 234. Members, are there any questions before I take a motion? I'm sorry, 276. Thank you for that. I don't see any. I'll entertain a motion to do pass. A motion to amend and do pass. Okay. I have a first from Assemblywoman Torres, a second from Vice Chair Howdiggy. Any discussion on the motion? I don't see any. All those in favor say aye. Aye. All those opposed say nay. Motion carries. I'll assign that floor statement to Assemblywoman Duran. That will close our work session. 1 minute recess. This committee will come back to order. I will now open the hearing on Senate Bill 274, which revises provisions related to industrial insurance. Welcome, Senator Daly. You may begin when you're ready.
Thank you, Madam Chair, members of the committee. My name is Skip Daly, representing Senate District 13, here to present Senate Bill 274. I'm going to go as quickly as I can. Happy to answer questions if you do have them. And then I have Kim here with me to tell a little bit of her story. I told her to keep it short. So I'll just go over the bill quickly. And then I'll close out with what our intent is. So Section 1 requires the Administrative Division of Industrial Relations to post on their internet website certain information of persons found in violation of the workmen's compensation laws under 616D 120. Section 2 increases the benefit penalty. We'll go into that a little bit more, what that means, from, I believe, $5,000 to $17,000, and it was capped at $50,000. Now the maximum is $120,000. Excuse me. The Section 2 increases the benefit penalty. Section 3 establishes the timeline for the processing and determination of a violation complaint. So once a complaint comes in, they have 30 days to recognize that and start it. They have 30 days to start an investigation. Then they have another 60 days to complete an investigation. And then they have another 30 days to issue determination. In the other provisions, when we had to make the amendment in the Money Committee, I was brought up with technical amendment, because when we changed that time frame, then we had to change the time for an appeal to happen and give it 150 days, because we changed it to 120. What I found out in that particular deal when we made that amendment was that oftentimes you have to have that appeal because the administration was not doing anything within the 120 days. They either weren't making a decision or they were just doing anything, so you had to appeal their non-decision. So that was the reason for some of those technical changes, which is part of the reason we're bringing this bill as well, which I'll explain further as well. Section 4, Section 4, subsections 1, 2, and 7 conform with the changes in Section 3. Section 4, subsection 7 provides for the benefit penalty to be double if the appeals office or district court upholds the imposition of a benefit penalty. Section 4, subsection 8 makes it clear that if an insurer enters into a settlement agreement regarding a benefit penalty case, that the insurer must pay directly to the claimant the amount agreed to not later than 15 days after the date of the stipulated to in the settlement agreement. Section 4, subsection 9 allows the Commissioner of Insurance to potentially suspend any certificate issued by the Commissioner if an insurer fails to timely pay any benefit penalty. So what we're trying to get to is put a little transparency into the process when an insurer, self-insured or otherwise, but it seems to be a self-insured issue more than anything else, and especially government self-insureds, where they will slow play, they'll stonewall, they will deny claims, there'll be an appeal, they'll deny the claim, there'll be a hearing appeals officer's determination, they'll deny the claim, continue on. That's what happened to Kim. So this isn't going to affect her case, but it will affect and hopefully get other people going forward. We're trying to make sure that people pay the claims, and that's why we're trying to increase the benefit penalty, which is why we're trying to have the transparency, putting any settlements or benefit penalties onto the website, and notification of the insurance commissioner when a benefit penalty claim is opened, so that if the insurer is acting poorly, I've been told by the insurance commissioner that they will take a greater look at this and intervene if they need to, and take their certificate from being able to act as a provider of insurance in this state if they continue to act in this bad fashion. That's the bill directly, and what the intent is that we're trying to get to, which is transparency, actually paying the claims, and having some type of teeth in this for the bad actors when they don't follow through with what they said they would do under our system, which is a exclusive remedy state. We don't have the right to sue, and we want to make sure that the claims are being paid. So with that, I would let Kim give her a little bit of testimony.
Good afternoon. For the record, my name is Kim Frankel, and I am a disabled detective formerly employed by the Washoe County Sheriff's Office. The two of us are here speaking in support of SB 274 because on June 25th of 2020, I was hit by a driver under the influence while on duty. I am not permanently incarcerated by my industrial injury diagnosis of functional dystonia, some of the symptoms that you are currently seeing displayed as I speak. But because
And you can take your time.
okay, I'm sorry, I'm trying to stay.
That's
This
okay.
at 2 minutes.
That's
I
no,
apologize.
you don't have 2 minutes. You have more than 2 minutes. So
I am not permanently incarcerated by my industrial injury diagnosis, functional dystonia, because I was hit by a DUI driver. I am permanently disabled to the intentional and malicious delay of treatment at the hands of my employer, Washoe County, and their third-party administrator, Cannon Cochran Management Services, also known as CCMSI, and their legal team. Despite court orders and benefit penalties, the care I needed to recover was denied by them when even their own neurologist, Dr. Charles Quaglieri, documented and informed them back on March 5th of 2021 that I had functional dystonia on an industrial basis. And in quotes, I think the claimant, Kim Frankel, is very motivated, and in light of the intermittent nature of her symptoms, I expect her to recover. In September of 2022, after I discovered I had no civil recourse to the damage caused by their actions, I went public about my industrial injuries and my experience in Nevada's broken workers' compensation system. The response I received was overwhelming. It was, and still is, heartbreaking hearing from the thousands of Nevadans and their families unnecessarily suffering, the same as I have. Through my successful 17-year career in law enforcement, I specialized in crimes against children, and I earned the trust and respect of the state of Nevada. So I made a public promise to advocate for all workers of Nevada to make Nevada a bad-faith state again. After our presentation to the Senate Commerce and Labor Committee, our bad faith language was amended during negotiations. The bill now only covers injured workers hurt after January 1st of 2024. However, I still strongly support SB 274 because the amendments provide transparency, raising of the fine cap, and the addition of doubling the penalty if appealed, as Senator Skip Daly said, by the insurer and they do not prevail. These amendments should be enough of a deterrent for insurers, employers, and their third-party administrators to stop the intentional and malicious mishandling of claims. Due to the limited legislative time, in cooperation with our previous presentation to the Senate Committee of Commerce and Labor, I will not go into details of my case, but I think it's important for you to know I repeat, I do not personally benefit from this bill passing. This bill will not give me back my career that I loved. Finances, nausea, I'm sorry, it will not give me back my career, my finances, my independence, the ability to sleep, or stop the piercing of my ears, the vertigo, the nausea, or stop the violent and repetitive head-to-toe twisting and jerking and the involuntary muscle contractions I endure and suffer 24/7. But I certainly welcome, encourage, and embrace any of you to ask me about any questions about my case. And in closing, you cannot change my situation by supporting this bill and passing SB 274. But you will provide future injured workers a better chance of getting the medical treatment they need and humanly deserve so they can return to the workforce and/or the job they earned and loved. On the 25th of this month, it'll be 3 years. And I still, despite court orders and benefit penalties, have not received treatment. Thank you.
And thank you, Madam Chair. Again, Skip Daly for the record. And before we take questions, which we're happy to do, just wanted to get on the record that from when we first presented the case, we did start out with bad faith, where you could sue, which would have, people were concerned over the disruption of the exclusive remedy potential. So we did negotiate with the parties, and we came to consensus where we got, I believe we had everybody to neutral. It's my understanding. Everybody was in the room that wanted to. We had several meetings, we went back and forth, and got to here. I believe this is a fair compromise. There's more transparency. There's actually increased penalties. There'll be better enforcement. And at the end of the game, you have the insurance commissioner who can basically put the bad actors out of business if they don't do what they're supposed to do, which is pay claims that they are receiving a premium to pay. So with that, I'm happy to answer any questions.
Thank you, and thank you for your presentation today. Committee members, are there any questions? Assemblyman Yurick.
Thank you, Chair. I do not have a question for you. Senator, I want to thank you for bringing this bill. Detective Frankel, I thank you so much for the courage that you've demonstrated to come forward and share your story. Full disclosure, I practice in this field. I didn't go to law school to be an attorney, and I ended up becoming one because I didn't really like attorneys, to be honest. I love what I do, and it's because I get to help people like you. And I'm so sorry you had to endure this, but as the managing partner for the largest workers' compensation firm in the state of Nevada, I see way too many instances of injustice that results maybe not quite in the extreme circumstances and condition that you have had to deal with. But I see this on a regular basis. And I'll be honest, bad faith it's the holy grail in work comp. We need to get that back to hold insurance companies accountable. They are not all bad actors, but there are too many that operate in that space, that operate in bad faith. And we, as an exclusive remedy jurisdiction, we do not have the ability to hold some of these insurers and TPAs accountable. The only remedy we have is through these benefit penalties. And so I applaud your efforts to bring this piece of legislation. I am wholly in support of it. Thank you, Chair.
Anyone else have a question? I don't see any. I just want to say thank you, Detective, for being here today. I know it's difficult for anyone to get up in front of us and share their story, so we appreciate your strength. Thank you. We will start with support testimony. Is there anyone here in Las Vegas? Please remember to state and spell your name for the record. Each person has 2 minutes. You may begin when you're ready.
Good afternoon, Madam Chair, committee members. My name is Jason Lesher, Lesher. I am the president of the Washoe County Sheriff Deputies Association, here in support of Kim, and I urge you to please pass this legislation. Thank you.
Good afternoon. Wendy Leonard, Leonard. I'm here in support of Senate Bill 274. You're going to hear a lot of opposition to this bill. You're going to hear from your financial backers why this is bad. When all of you became politicians, you promised yourselves and you promised us as constituents that you wouldn't be a dirty politician and that your votes were not for sale. When you hear from your financial backers that they're afraid that this might cost them money, I have a very good answer for you. I want you to be strong and to look them in the eye and tell those backers that if they do the right thing and if they do what's already required of them under NRS 616 and 617, which is providing workers' comp benefits to employees who are injured on the job, that this bill will not affect them in a negative way, not even by one dime. When you hear that this might muddy the process, you can look those people in the eye and tell them that this process doesn't work. Kim Frankel has appealed through the process as it exists, and she's won every level of appeal. The county still refuses to treat her condition, and she is disabled for life because they refused to treat her when they were mandated to do so by law. I'm asking you, please, to be strong. You're sitting in these seats because we trust you and we believe in you. We believe that you have the strength to do what's right. We believe that you have the ability to look at those who've supported your campaign and tell them that you're going to do what's right for every Nevadan. Please support Senate Bill 274. Be strong enough to look your financial backers in the eye and tell them that you're going to do what's right for the state. Thank you very much for what you do.
Madam Chair, Jason Mills, JASONMILLS, on behalf of the Nevada Justice Association. I'm here in support of this particular piece of legislation. Just briefly as a piece of background, it's important to understand in the Nevada industrial insurance system, the sole remedy, the only remedy that a claimant has by law is under 616D140, and they have to proceed through this system. They cannot sue, they cannot bring a case, they cannot bring a bad faith action where every other insurer is subjected to bad faith bad faith claims. So the only deterrent that exists is in 616D140. If it is not robust enough, it encourages bad actors to continue to engage in bad action. Good actors have nothing to fear from these changes or amendments. Only bad actors have to worry about it. Those are the people that this bill, and those are the companies that this bill addresses, not good actors. And again, the Nevada Supreme Court has indicated in multiple pieces of case law that the only remedy is these statutes. And if these statutes are not working, then they're not providing the deterrent effect that they were designed to create when they were implemented in 1993. The Nevada Justice Association encourages your support from every one of your members. Thank you, Madam Chair.
Afternoon, Chair Marzola. My name is John Abel, Johnabel, Government Affairs Director for the LVPPA. Many of our members have nightmare stories with CCMSI. It's unfortunate that Kim's case shines a light the fact that CCMSI operates on their own set of rules. So for that reason, we support this bill fully. Thank you.
Madam Chair, I'm Christopher Waddle, CHRISTOPHER, I am the president of the Reno Police Protective Association. We, too, are still living the nightmare of CCMSI, even though they are no longer our third-party administrator. We are a strong supporter of this bill and urge every one of you to please forward this through.
Thank you for your testimony. Is there anyone else in Carson City wishing to testify in support? I don't see anyone.
Good afternoon. My name's Al LaHoulier. I'm a retired California State Police officer, currently living in Arizona. I'm here to support Kim Frankel and her family and all the others, and also for Senate Bill 274. My 3 adult children and grandchildren all live in the state of Nevada, and and my son-in-law too. He's a firefighter in Las Vegas, so they're employees for the state of Nevada. But I'd just like to urge your support for this bill. Thank you.
Thank you for your testimony. Can you spell your name for the record?
Yes, first name Al or Albert. Last name is French. It's Lehoulier, Lehoulier.
Thank you.
Thank you very much.
Is there anyone else here in Carson City wishing to testify in support? I don't see any. Is there anyone in Las Vegas wishing to testify in support to Senate Bill 274? Broadcast, is there anyone on the line?
Callers, if you'd like to testify in support of Senate Bill 274, please press star 9 now to take your place in the queue.
Good afternoon, Madam Chair. My name is Justin Norton, Justinnorton. I'm the president of the Washoe County Employees Association. I will be very brief just to spare your time, but we are strongly in favor of this. I wish it were stronger, but we'll take what we can get. We support it. Thank you.
Chair, there are no more callers in support at this time.
Thank you. We will move to testimony in opposition to Senate Bill 274. Is there anyone here in Carson City wishing to testify in opposition? I don't see any. Is there anyone in Las Vegas wishing to testify in opposition? Please remember to state and spell your name for the record. You may begin when you're ready.
Thank you, Madam Chair. Dalton Hooks, that's D-A-L-T-O-N, last name is Hooks, H-O-O-K-S, on behalf of the Nevada Self-Insurers Association. We do come to, is it not closer? Oh, sorry. Okay, apparently not close enough. We have worked with the sponsor to amend some of the language to get to an amicable solution to this bill, but we weren't able to get there. So the NSIA and its members must oppose the bill. Just a couple of points. The bill seeks to, among other things, add parity between the general insurance defense system as well as bring that in to parity in terms of dollars for the penalties. But it's important to note that the system that we have, as Mr. Mills mentioned, is a legislative system that's a carefully crafted legislative scheme. So the premiums are different, the approaches are different, and there isn't an agency charged with overseeing administrators in the system such as there is in this system. With respect to the efficacy of the current system, of course, you've heard some harrowing stories, but there are many hundreds of thousands of claims processed in the state without issue. We have data. You've heard testimony in other committees about this. Over the past 2 years, the DIR, in terms of having benefit penalty complaints, not valid benefit penalty issues, but just complaints, the average was 230 over the past 2 years. Thus far in this year, there have only been 69 complaints. That is out of thousands of claims that are processed. There are potential negative effects, including the sponsor mentioned, insurance commissioner taking away licenses from third-party administrators and others who might be found to run afoul, which then can potentially impact other workers in the state of Nevada, depending how that process, which is, as the bill is drafted, fairly nebulous. So for these reasons and others, the NSIA must oppose the bill. Thank you.
Thank you for your testimony. Is there anyone else in Las Vegas wishing to testify in opposition to Senate Bill 274? Broadcast, is there anyone on the line?
Chair, there are no callers in opposition at this time.
Thank you. I will move to neutral testimony. Is there anyone here in Carson City wishing to testify in neutral to Senate Bill 274?
Good afternoon, Madam Chair and members of the committee. Jeanette Bells on behalf of the American Property Casualty Insurance Association. We sincerely appreciate the many meetings that we had after hours with the senator, and the changes that were made did bring the association to neutral. This is a very difficult topic, but with perseverance, I think we were able to get to a good point, and so thank you very much.
Thank you, Madam Chair. Committee members, Misty Grimmer representing Employers Insurance Company of Nevada. We also are neutral on the bill and absolutely appreciate the willingness of Senator Daley to have multiple meetings with us to come to a neutral position, a compromise on this bill. He is definitely a tireless advocate for injured workers in Nevada, and so I know compromise is not easy for him, but we do appreciate what he did. Thank you.
Can you hang on, Mrs. Grimmer? I believe Assemblyman O'Neill has a question.
Thank you, Chair. I really appreciate you allowing me to ask the question. Ms. Greiner, I've got one question for you. With the compromise, if that had been in effect, or if this incident occurred after the effective date of this bill, if it is passed, would this incident, this have happened? Would this failure to address this young lady's needs happen? Have we actually addressed the issue?
Thank you for the question, Assemblyman. Misty Grimmer representing Employers Insurance Company. On this specific case, of course, I don't know enough about it to actually reference any of the details of the case. But I do think that we're on the right track, that if there is a better and a more transparent process in place, and if there is a bit more of a hammer for bad actions, then then there's not an incentive to kick the can down the road and end up in a circumstance where somebody's treatment is delayed.
I appreciate it, and thank you, Chair, for allowing me that time.
Of course, and thank you for allowing us to ask you questions. Any additional questions, or is anyone else here in the neutral position? I don't see any. I see someone in Las Vegas. Please remember to state and spell your name for the record. You may begin when you're ready.
Good afternoon, Madam Chair, members of the committee. Victoria Carrion for the record. That's spelled Victoria. Last name is spelled Carreon. I'm the administrator at the Division of Industrial Relations, and we are neutral on this bill. We do have a fiscal note, and we are available for any questions you may have. Thank you, Madam Chair.
Thank you. Committee members, are there any questions? I don't think we have any questions, but thank you for offering. Is there anyone else in Las Vegas wishing to testify in neutral to Senate Bill 274? I don't see any broadcast. Is there anyone on the line?
Chair, there are no callers in neutral at this time.
Thank you. Senator, would you like to give any closing remarks?
Thank you, Madam Chair. Again, Skip Daly for the record. Try to answer a couple of the questions that I heard. Obviously, for the Assemblyman's question, there's no way to know what would have happened on this, but I do believe with the steps and things we're putting in place here, there is a greater deterrence, so there's less of a chance. Did want to respond to some of the opposition if I could, and I know Mr. Hooks was in every one of the meetings that we had on these various things. In fact, some of the compromises were at his suggestion, so sometimes if you don't have anything nice to say, I'll just stop there. And then the final thing was from DIR on the fiscal note. All of the costs to the division for workman's comp is paid out of an assessment. So any cost doesn't directly affect the state's budget. The assessment, the insurers pay an assessment that covers the cost for that. Not that you're the money committee, but I know the chair of the Ways and Means is here. It was determined and it was discovered that there's enough money in the assessment already. They don't even have to raise it to cover the cost of their fiscal note. So if there are any additional questions, and I do want to just say, it's not me, Assemblyman. Easy for me to put in a bill and work and do what my job is. Kim Frankel is the person that's made this move. So I'll thank her again.
Thank you, Senator. I will now close the hearing on Senate Bill 274. 1 minute recess. We will now open a work session on Senate Bill 274. Members, are there any questions before we work session this bill? I don't see any. I will entertain a motion to do pass on Senate Bill 274. I have a first from Assemblywoman Moreno, a second from Vice Chair Howdigi. Is there any discussion on the motion? Assemblyman Urick.
Thank you, Chair, for this opportunity. Once again, thank you, Detective Frankel, Senator, for this bill. I am also truly grateful for the large stakeholders in this industry who came to the table in good faith to negotiate a deal that will increase accountability and transparency and help injured workers and prevent tragedies like this. And I also want to go on record and say how displeased I am at the NSI coming to the table to negotiate and extract concessions and to still come here in opposition. I think that that is in poor taste. I am in complete support of this bill. Thank you, Chair.
Thank you. Is there anyone else? I don't see anyone with any further discussion. All those in favor say aye. Aye. All those opposed say nay. Motion carries. I will assign that floor statement to Assemblyman Urick. And with that, I will now close work session. I will now open up for public comment. Please address your remarks to issues that fall within the jurisdiction of this committee. Public comment is limited to 2 minutes per person. Please remember to state and spell your name for the record. Is there anyone here in Carson City wishing to give public comment? I don't see any. I don't see anyone in Las Vegas. Broadcast, is there anyone on the line?
Chair, the public line is open and working, and there are no callers at this time.
Thank you. Before we adjourn, and because I'm not sure if any additional bills are going to come to Commerce and Labor's way, I just wanted to take a moment to say thank you to, first and foremost, the staff. You guys keep us together. You definitely make me look good, and so I appreciate that. And to all my committee members, you guys are incredible. Thank you for hanging in there. Thank you for helping me kind of come into my own, my first time chairing, and so I appreciate each and every one of you. Thank you.
And Chair, if I may say, as the minority leader, we have been totally impressed and have enjoyed, maybe not every minute on every bill, but you have really conducted yourself as a professional. You've made sure that this committee has addressed the issues and has proffered your positions and have ensured that the constituents, our citizens and visitors to this state, are well protected and address their needs. And it's truly, we are appreciative of it and can't thank you enough for it. We look forward to being back with you in a few months and doing this all over again for the good, again, for the state. And that's what you're here for, and that's what we appreciate the most from you, is you're here for the good of the state. So thank you very much for all your work, Chair. I know it hasn't been easy putting up with me at times.
I'm just going to say ditto.